Hey, Russell, I'm relegated to trying to send you a message while in the line to pick up my kid from school because this is life on the fly, man. And I've just been, inundated with all of the news and discussion and, really some terrific stuff happening on the online chatter responding to Joe being in the crosshairs of course, CNN and everything that relates to everything that you're saying by way of who can tell the truth and, who's not telling the truth. And it's all a sham. And CNN's a joke. Celta is a joke. And I saw, for example, this morning, Jimmy Dore just blow up CNN in a way that was just absolutely extraordinary. But I'm going to pick up on everything I picked up before because you said it yourself. You were, and I got sparked by something that just happened on Twitter that I needed to make you aware of. But you were saying in your podcast today that, look, you filter stuff. You try to find out through your friends and colleagues and whomever who's the real deal and who's not the real deal. And I thought to myself, well, maybe, he's gotten some of my messages and saw my stuff online and everything else, and he could talk to a couple of people that maybe he trusts and they don't know who I am necessarily or some other strange things. Man, if you want to check me out, why don't you call Paul Pelletier, the former director of investigations of white shoe crime for the Department of Justice, third in command of the Department of Justice. Why don't you call Chris Swecker, former director of investigations for the FBI, who's blowing up a huge naval tirade situation right now and inside a mammoth corruption inside the Navy and Army, as a matter of fact, and some of the things that he's doing. Why don't you call, for example, Bill Black, the former director of office of the Thrift Supervision, who took down Keating and 1,000 executives. The last time we actually had rules and regulation for the financial system before it became a runaway train wreck. And everybody is, justifiably pointing out the lies and the deceit of mainstream media. But Rachel Maddow and Tucker Carlson and CNN, they're paid to make sure everybody is distracted. And I'm not saying that COVID and everything that's coming out from there is unwarranted, not even remotely, but in context, man. Dude, the system has just continued through the Federal Reserve and inside job, through the central banks, have been basically creating tens of trillions of dollars, by the way. And this is the one thing I didn't mention to you in my last video email to you. But, in addition to everything I already talked about, for example, hedge funds bought all the newspapers around the country to get rid of investigations. Wall Street, through the revolving door, was able to manage the DOJ and the FBI and just quell investigations, as did white shoe law firms. And it comes down to this incredible, these huge firms become the sword and the shield for the guys that are the bad actors, and Jamie Dimon, for example, is a 5-time recidivist since 2016, including Rico, and I'm talking Chase, and he's the CEO of it, but he gets bonus after bonus after bonus because it's cost of doing business, and we're talking trillions upon trillions of dollars that go into the system. And the system itself, after 2008 and 2009, as I mentioned the other day, it created $29 trillion in backstop that went to the same entities that blew up the world, but they were buying back toxic assets in quantitative easing through these bonds that were all just absolute deception. And they were buying on 100 cents on the dollar. This was AIG and Goldman Sachs and so many others. And I could just walk you through this detailed upon detailed analysis and so much more information we have, Russell. I'm sorry to sound Looney Tunes, man. I'm Looney Tunes. This whole world is Looney Tunes. It's crazy. We've got the answers you're looking for, man. You've got millions of people following you because you're a great guy. You're telling everybody that we've got to find the truth. We've got to get past this. We've got to find ourselves and our mental well-being and, rise above the madness of corruption. I'm trying to give you the details because, dude, at the end of the day, the facts matter above all else. And you've got to be aware, Russell, as I mentioned to you in the last podcast, man, and I'm desperately trying to wake you up to this madness. Rachel Maddow is seriously talking about documentation fraud as it relates to Rudolph Giuliani and, voter certification fraud, based on this multi-state situation that plays into the big lie. And of course, ultimately, Donald Trump and his businesses were involved with documentation fraud for not only mortgage fraud, but for student loan fraud. And this has just been something that's been going on for a while. And the FCIC, the Federal Crisis Inquiry Commission, back in, I think it was 2011, 12-ish, where they put 1,000 witnesses on the stand. They did a year of investigations. They themselves had reported that there was like 80% of the bad loans that were taking place in the 2006 to 2008 time period were liar's loans, which means that they were also doing documentation fraud on all of these things to get people approved to throw them in the system where they backstop the securities and then, of course, the derivatives and everything else to led to the global contagion that blew all this up. And that's all Donald Trump is doing right now with the and I'm speculating on this part, but with the big lie. I mean, the guy's been a part of this. And if I'm Donald Trump, there's some part of me is like, look, I've gotten away with it for this long and, nobody else is going down for it. Why should I? Meanwhile, he's being investigated by the DOJ the AG of New York, and then also the Southern District of Manhattan for control fraud and all this other documentation fraud, this type of stuff that I'm talking about, not to mention what it's going to lead to for the election certification fraud and all of those sorts of barriers. Meanwhile, what I'm trying to tell you is like millions of people got buried with documentation fraud in the courts. Judges around this country just let illegal foreclosures happen without any standing to the people that were foreclosing on these properties. David Dane did a great book called Chain of Title. I've been taught since then it's really a chain of lien, but there's more to it, and it's these servicers and all of these bottom dwellers that aren't servicers. I mean, it gets complicated, it gets crazy, but I'm just telling you, it's all the same thing, man. It's all in the con. And the reason I got, kind of excited about this is I did this video the other day, it just was off the cuff, and I know if a lot of people saw it, especially professional colleagues that I've worked with, and they saw it, they might think I'm unhinged. I'm not unhinged. I'm justifiably furious, man. And I happen to post this on Twitter, started to get a little bit of heat, this message that I had to Joe Rogan, and then out of the blue, the former director of investigations at the Department of Justice gave me a thumbs up. I actually just got off the phone with him, and he says, you're pushing the envelope because you have to. This is the guy on the inside, I can tell you right now, is trying to create what we're calling a Manhattan-like project to purge corruption, because the most dangerous just disaster and disease and all of it that is endangering the world is corruption, which you intuitively know about it. Russell, I'm just trying to get you the facts, man. I'm just trying to get you the facts. Please have your gatekeepers call me. You got to do your filtering. Call all these guys that are the best in the business. Find out what we've got. Look at my work, our work. It took us years and years to get this right, man. And I'm telling you, I know that you just interviewed Matt Taibbi, and Matt Taibbi's got a lot of great stuff going on. And he was the guy that got me into this stuff because of the great work that he did at Rolling Stone magazine. But he's off, doing other things right now. And it's not this, and this is still the centerpiece, and he knows it. I just saw him do a tweet about it. So, I don't know, man. I love you. You're a great guy. Keep on doing what you're doing. I just pray for all of us that you'll give me a call and give us a chance to spread this truth to the world, man. It's what you're looking for, dude. Peace, man. Onwards.